So I'm doing laundry. I actually wanted to talk while I did it about Epiphany, the new BTS song. BTS. It's been a fat minute since I found them. They talk about a lot of things that most lyrics won't talk about. They made that very obvious with these albums are generations, and humans in general are just loving yourself is not easy. It's worse through the generations, I believe. We have more things to compare ourselves to. The things we have to live up to, I guess, our expectations are a lot higher, I feel, because we have so many new opportunities, so much more technology, stuff like that. I feel like it's very difficult for people. It is quite a bit easier nowadays to lose who you are, and compare. It's a lot easier to compare yourself to others, which leads to not being happy with your appearance, not being happy with your personality, not being happy with you, not loving yourself. And I think that BTS are just amazing for talking about these things that a lot of artists don't, especially in the Korean industry, K-pop industry. I think for them they don't talk about such deep topics as much. I do think that is changing a little bit. I think we have groups like Stray Kids and some upcoming groups that are actually talking about the deeper topics. And I'm not saying that there's never been groups that talk about deep topics, because a lot of groups have. But I think it's just almost all of their songs, they're talking about hardships that other groups and people in general just don't like to talk about. This new song, Epiphany, the lyrics are like, I'm the one I should love in this world, and I finally realize, and I love myself now, basically, is what the lyrics are saying. And I think that hits really close to home for everyone, because I think almost everyone has had an experience where you try and please everyone else, you try and please a certain person, you try to make them love you and adapt, like the lyrics say, you adapt to their likings, and then when they push you aside, you get so confused, you think, I know I loved you with all I had, and I'm sad still, why is this happening to me? They say, I loved you, and now I'm finally realizing that the one I should have been loving is myself. Because honestly, if you do not love yourself, how are you supposed to love someone else? You're always going to have that thought in the back of your head, and you're going to be blaming yourself for everything, and that is a huge obstacle in relationships. They can't be positive because they don't have the confidence. It's not that you can't love someone if you don't love yourself. It's that whilst blaming yourself, it's very difficult to love someone because you're constantly thinking, what can I do to make this right? Instead of thinking and knowing this person loves me for who I am, and I love them for who they are, which means that they will accept me even if I make mistakes, stuff like that. Very difficult for me to explain because I'm not good at explaining things. Honestly, their lyrics are so much more than what a lot of people give them, because some of the fandom is not pleasant. I'm going to admit that right away. Some of the fandom is not pleasant. A lot of the fandom is not pleasant. And the people who were, well, most of the people who were here are fans before they made their American debut and stuff like that, before they got really, really big, understand that there's so much more than what the public is giving them credit for, what other K-pop fandoms are giving them credit for. I mean, they're more than that, and obviously, I think, with this song, they just showed how amazing they are by giving another person who looks up to them, telling them that the person they should be loving right now, before anyone else, is themselves. And then they can give that to others. Let's take Fake Love, okay? Fake Love talked about changing yourself for another person. And how that person later says, you know, you're not the person I fell in love with anymore because you've changed. Most of the time, the person that they fell in love with is you, and they don't want you to change. And by changing, you're getting rid of the person who they fell in love with. And just stuff like that. BTS write their own lyrics, right? They've struggled with the same stuff. They've been depressed, they've had mental illnesses, they've had these setbacks, they've had struggles, and they're writing about it so that so many people can relate, and that's why they're so amazing. And it just kind of really hit me with this new song release. The lyrics hit me, and I just kind of thought, you know, they are so much more than what they're getting credit for. Their lyrics, just because they're in a language that I am not yet fluent in, it doesn't mean I cannot relate to those lyrics just as much as a Korean person. Music is not about language. And that's what I think a lot of people who aren't accepting of them don't understand. They think, I can't understand them, so what's the point of giving them a shot? And I think that a lot of people who are their fans used to think that. They think, okay, I mean, it's okay music, but what's the point of listening to it if I can't understand it? And later on, I think people realize that, wow, these songs have so much more meaning than I first gave them credit for, you know?